Hello, this is Edith Newmeyer, and I am the author of the book The Mystery of Adam. Well, I am not going to talk about divorce today. I think I'm going to talk about one more thing about dating, which need to be addressed to both the man and the woman. I know today, more than ever, we have this big debate on should is sexual intercourse okay before marriage, or is sexual intercourse only allowed within the marriage? I think that's a very important thing because I know that's what people that date and deal with quite a lot. And of course, everybody needs to make that decision. But when we look at biblical things, um, it's a little bit different. There is no place in the Bible that tells us that sexual intercourse before marriage is a sin. Okay? The Ten Commandments address adultery. That means people need to be married. And if they have sexual intercourse outside that marriage, while they're married, that's considered adultery. And it is a no-no. Can be punished by stoning. Of course, that's not going to be done today, but it is definitely a reason to resolve your marriage without giving the other person a divorce decree. Okay? Now, in the Old Testament, what happened when a man and a woman had sexual relations outside marriage and people found out about it? The man was uh, I don't want to say, well, forced is not the right word, but was encouraged to get married to that woman. Okay? If he did not get married to the woman, he had to pay the child price. No, the bride price anyways. Okay, the dowry had to be paid anyways to the father. Okay, because he violated the woman, even though they may have done it together, but he violated actually the right of the father in a sense too. Okay, so those are the two things that would have happened in the Old Testament. Now, of course, during the Old Testament times and the New Testament times, um, for thousands of years, is what happened is that women had to prove, or most of the time, let's see, most of the time, I don't think uh, that men wanted to have a woman that was not a virgin. That was a must. Okay. The reason for that is because the man wanted to make sure that the offspring that the woman brought forth was actually his child. And so what they made sure is that she was a virgin, and she guaranteed that the children that she was receiving were actually the husband's children. So it was in the best interest of the woman, it was in the best interest of the parents that the woman remained a virgin. Now, this did not apply to men. Okay? It seems like no matter where, even during the Old Testament times and even during the Roman Catholic Church time, uh, people didn't seem to care too much about men having sexual relations before marriage. But with women, because of this purity, being a virgin, um, and her being, a clean vessel for that offspring, she had to be a virgin. If she was not a virgin and the husband found out afterwards, that could have been a reason for her to be called an adulterous woman because um, she, in a sense, violated that right of the husband. He got married to a virgin or believed that he got married to a virgin and she wasn't. So that right of the husband was kind of violated. However, again, this sexual relations outside or before marriage, not outside marriage, but before marriage, was not something that was into death, but definitely it would lessen the chance for the woman to be married. Okay, because she had to be open. She had to say, "Hey, I had sexual intercourse already," and then the man to be had to, the husband to be had to know that, or else she could have been uh, deemed an adulterous woman. Okay, so because that's the same thing if a woman would divorce, and of course she's not a virgin anymore at that point, and get married again, the man has to know it. And so if the man knows that, it's okay. The man's not going to say, hey, she was not a virgin, because the man knows it. But if the man didn't know and she was not a virgin, he could have put it that way and say, hey, she committed adultery. Okay. So anyways, so it was important in the olden days to stay a virgin. Okay. So everybody, the whole culture, the whole society encouraged women very strongly to not have sexual intercourse before marriage, because that lessened her chance to have a good match. And of course, the woman didn't want that either. She did not. She wanted to have a good match, and in order to do that, she had to be a virgin. Okay. So now how does that apply to today? Because things kind of have changed. Most men don't care whether they have virgins or not. Not even Christian men. They don't care either. Seems like it. Maybe sometimes, I don't know. But I think less and less men care whether they get a virgin or not. So that has changed very much. So then becomes the question is it okay, to have sex before marriage? Well, I believe, and that's my belief, well, it's because I'm looking at biblically too, in a sense. When two people become physically one, that's already one component for being one as the whole person. We are body, soul, and spirit. If we become one in body, that is already kind of starting this trend to become one. Okay? And so I believe once you become one with another person physically, a lot of times that is already starting your bonding. Because see, God says they shall become one. Okay? Not, hey, they have sex and then they're one. No. It is a social, it's a slow bonding. Okay? And sexual intercourse is a very strong bonding between two people. Now, a lot of people, they can have sex all they want and they don't bond. They just do it because the lustful desires. And of course, we shouldn't be doing that anyway. Okay, Paul said if you have lustful desires, if you need the sex, well, by golly, get married. Okay, so you can have it all the time, but don't do it outside a marriage bond. That's what Paul says, and of course he goes by this old rule that women should be virgins when they get married. But nevertheless, the bonding starts when you have a sexual relation. Matter of fact, these hormones that are created that I talked about during the dating process or the romantic relationship during intercourse, this is even stronger. Okay, there is going to be bunches of hormones released, and which even makes that bonding even stronger. And so it is very unadvisable to have sexual intercourse before being married. It's not a sin. Okay, it's not a sin if you do, but it's in your best interest. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm talking about to the man. I speak to the man and the woman. Okay, it is advisable to wait at least until you really, really, really certain that this person, this other person, is the right partner for you. All right. I would definitely, I mean, I've talked so much about hormones and that they prevent you from looking at the other person realistically and rationally. And so sexual intercourse interferes in that um, extremely. Okay. Very, very much. Also, sexuality is a very special thing. Okay, it's a very special thing that we share, or should be a special thing. Nowadays, it's probably not anymore, but it is. It should be something very, 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 very special. And you want to teach parents, if you're listening, you want to teach your young kids that giving away this privacy or this your sexuality to another person, you should not do that until you have a very special person to share that with. You should not be sharing your sexuality with just anybody. Now, here I'm only just going to talk to the women because I know, and okay, I'm a woman. That's just the way I see it. Men, you can tell me that maybe I'm wrong, but I just think that a lot of men are out to get the women's sexuality. Okay, they want to have sex, they want to touch women's privacy, private parts, and they want to be romantically involved. And then, hey, they kick them to the curb. They're done. They'll go to the next one. And I want to really encourage women to really look at their sexuality as something special they can offer to this person that they have chosen that will share life with them, maybe even forever, or not forever, but at least for a lifetime. Okay? I want, as a woman, I want to keep my sexuality for that person, for that special person who I have checked out and made sure that he will care for me forever and not just going to use me as an object. Because a lot of times women are being used as an object when they give men their sexuality. And but again, I'm not saying it's sin. It is only for your advantage. Only for your advantage. If I can go from one guy to another and have sex, what kind of thing am I making sexual intercourse into? It's not any more special. There's some people that want to say that sexuality is actually a spiritual thing, and I believe, that could be seen as such, a spiritual thing. But it definitely is a very strong bond between two people. Okay, it should be. It should not be used as just a sexual thing, as a lustful thing, and then I'll go to the next one. Okay, it should be shared with the person that I can trust and the person that I will stay with for the rest of my life. Now, I know next time I will talk about um, divorce. Okay, I will talk about divorce, and but here I'm not saying that divorce is not happening. Okay, it still can happen. Even if I make all the precautions, it still can happen. If I prepare everything and I think I have the best person for me, the best matched person, it still can happen. And so, um, yeah, anyways, it's about sexual intercourse. This film is about sexual intercourse before marriage. I would not advise it, not at all. Okay, I have learned my lesson and I had to learn it the hard way. Okay, I had to learn it the hard way. And I'm now to the point where I will give you that advice. I will give you that advice to wait till you find the right person. And again, if you find the right person, I'm not saying you have to be married, okay? But if you find the right person, you might as well just get married and have that first special night, the first night you married. But again, everybody has to make that decision. Um, in saying that it is not a sin to have intercourse outside marriage does not mean that I approve of having sex outside marriage. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's not necessary. Okay? There are many circumstances where maybe people decide to do that. I am not the one who's going to judge them. Okay? I have been in churches, and probably most of the churches, who come down very hard on couples that, like for instance, live together before they get married. Okay? I am not going to judge these people. Okay? I'm not going to judge them. If somebody decides we need to get to know each other first, and the best way to do that is to actually live together, I'm not going to be the judge of that. And I don't think anywhere in the Bible you will find a reason or you find a law that tells you do not live with your spouse before you guys get married. The question is, if you're living with a spouse or if you're living with somebody, is not the same as being married. You become one, and if you want to decide, oh, we're not going to get married, you're going to have to break up anyways, and that's not many times not any different than getting a divorce. I'm not speaking spiritually here. I'm speaking as a relationship. Okay, here we're talking about relationships, and we talk about ideal. What is the ideal? I don't know. Okay, I don't know. It doesn't matter if you live together. Common law. You live together. In Colorado, it's called common law marriage. Okay, you live together. Many times it's seen as common law, and you're already married, in many states. I don't know. We will talk about, of course, divorce next time, and we will see that law is accepted in the Old Testament. A law was accepted under Paul, and divorce was accepted under Paul, and divorce was accepted under Jesus. Jesus did accept it, okay? Even though he said that's not the ideal. The ideal is for them to be one and to stay one. But he also knew that in our fallen world, divorce will happen. But I will talk about that next time. So, anyways, I will finish up today. And I know lots of people will come down hard on me, but do your own studies, okay? Don't come down hard on me. Again, it's a cultural thing. We have been conditioned culturally to believe what we're believing. And we were culturally conditioned to believe that sex outside marriage is a big no. No, 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 no. Okay? And I would tell my kids, when I would have to raise some more kids, I would tell them no. No, keep your sexuality for that special person. But I will not condemn somebody because they have sex outside marriage. Will not condemn anybody. They have to deal with that themselves, the consequences themselves. Okay, people have to deal with it. Again, nowadays, I don't think a non-virgin has a hard time finding somebody. Okay, she may have a hard time finding a good Christian man. That may be one of the things. Okay, So think about that. What does your spouse, or what kind of spouse are you looking for? Are you looking for a spouse who's looking for somebody who's pure and has waited for this right one to come along? Or, kind of spouse do I want? Do I want a spouse that has waited for me, from the special person I am? Or do you want somebody who's been out there, like the birds and the bees, going from one flower to another? It's up to you. But you have to live up to that expectations. What you expect, you need to expect the other, you need to do the same thing. If you expect the other person to be a virgin, then you have to be that virgin as well. And it's up to you to make that decision. What do you want? You want a pure relationship, a relationship that you can say, I waited for that special person a long time, and I made sure that it's the right person for me, and I waited for the sexual part as well until I found that person. Okay, next time I will talk more about, or not more, yeah, because I have talked about divorce already, but I will address that more. And keep studying, especially those people that are saying, oh no, she is telling a heresy here. No, I'm not telling heresy. I have done my studies. Okay, fornication. Look at the word fornication, the original word for fornication. And then don't look what fornication means in English. But what does that word, the original word, porneia, because that's the original word, what does porneia really mean? Okay, because we're looking at fornication, we translate it as fornication, and then we're looking at what does fornication mean in English? And then we're thinking, oh, sex outside marriage. That doesn't work that way. You have to look at the original text, that original word, which is porneia. What does porneia mean in the original text and the original intention? Okay, because fornication is not sex outside marriage. Fornication is actually going back more to sex with temple prostitutes. Okay, temple prostitutes. This is not having a sexual relationship with a partner you love and a partner you decide you want to be together for the rest of your life, or you partner you really love. Has nothing to do. That's not fornication. You're not fornicating. It may be fornicating if you go from one flower to another. That's fornicating. Okay, when you're in for the pleasure, that's fornication. When you're in for the pleasure. But then I'm asking myself, well, what if somebody gets married just to have sex? Isn't that fornicating too? I don't know. That's a question. Okay, I don't know. You're just having a wife so you can have sex and enjoy your sexual stuff, but you don't care about her, and you're really not becoming one. You're just having sex. Isn't that fornicating too? Because Paul said that. That's maybe a question for Paul to answer. But again, I'm finishing up. And think about these things, okay? Because they're very, very important. Don't just jump to conclusions, and don't look at what culture thinks. All right, here we go. Finishing up. Do your studies on your own. Ask the Holy Spirit to guide you.